out there in Flint, exposed to lead coming from the water crisis. The Philly kids in the crossfires of the drug wars and the gun violence. The Chi-Town kid on gang turf killed his payback for his daddy drama. Police don't feel safe, we can feel the fear every time they get behind us. The youth don't fear nothing, everywhere you look it's very clear they need a father. Success is a fantasy life, we rarely seen around. The sanctity of marriage is something we need to honor. Pray more dads out here start back wanting to be a father. Let's take it back to family values, villages raising kids and pride in the neighborhood we live in. Let's work to see more two-parent homes, building wealthy support systems for our future generations to win. Let's go.
Check, 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 check. How's the sound now? How's the sound now? Looks like it's working. All right. Now we good. Okay. So yeah, y'all see the thumbnail. We got a provocative conversation to have. And I really want to get y'all thoughts on this. You know, this ain't even like it's not a lecture. This is more so a question from what y'all are seeing and how the manosphere has been shaping since the death of the Godfather. Um, I know for me myself, he was my introduction to the manosphere. I was not really familiar with these YouTube spaces prior to him. But at the same time, I was very blessed by it because it helped kind of strengthen my marriage because it validated a lot of the things that I had been saying for years that my wife thought I was absolutely crazy for. Um, One of the things that she always says is that when we met, I was too honest. That's always the negative thing she tells everybody. And for a while, I thought I was alone on the island. And then there came this guy named Kevin Samuels. I was doing a show with a couple gentlemen. It happened to be the day that I was not able to be on that they covered him for the first time. And when they did, they were very critical of his message. It was the average at best video, the viral one, of course. And they just were going in on him on how ridiculous it is for this man to be talking like this and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just listening, supporting from the background. And I'm like, well, fellas, what did he say that was wrong? And they got to rolling their eyes at me and acting all crazy. And I'm like, I realized at that particular moment how bad of a predicament we are in as a generation to where truth genuinely hurts people's feelings. When you listen word for word in context, the man didn't say a single thing rude to that woman. What is so awful about being average at best? Isn't the reality that by default, most people are going to be average? When did average become an insult? So I was very intrigued by the reaction he got more so than the things that he was saying, because the things that he was saying were just common sense. As Candor said, he was just telling us what we need to hear, and that's real rap on both ends. On both ends. So it was not even just for women, but for men as well. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today, because for most of us, I think it was a shock to learn how much he was talking to men during his come up years in this YouTube space. Um, so as I began to go back and binge watch some of this content, I was like, man, in a way for me, he kind of became the father that I didn't have for those years when my dad was in prison, those years when my dad was missing or inactive. My parents divorced when I was 3. For the next 4 to 5 years, I spent every weekend with my dad. He ran in trouble with the law. He ended up having to flee town. And that was the most crucial crucifix of my life right there. When that happened, I began to act up in school. I got kicked out of 3 different classes. I was literally a step away from being expelled. And at the time, I had no idea that it was impacting me, that my relationship dynamic with my father had changed. It never crossed my mind. Obviously, as a kid, you don't even think of these things. And honestly, I didn't think about it until I was well into my adult year when my sister mentioned it to me. Like, that was right around when your dad left, right? And I was like, man, that really was like, it was an overnight change in my behavior. Um, and it impacted me for years. And, he got out, went back again. It was a little cycle for a minute. Um, that definitely redefined my life and changed the trajectory. So in a way, I missed out on a lot of things that I should have learned. And I think I didn't realize that till I began to look at one of my best friends who had his father in the home. He had moved out of the neighborhood because, as with homes with fathers in it, they began to progress economically while we didn't. Um, and with that time, we started to grow distant a little bit because we weren't around each other as much as we were when he lived on the next street over. And then there came a point where his mom and my mom started to reconnect more, and we would start to hang out again. And, I would just see the different things that he did, the different activities he took it. He started to take up, he was playing football and all these different sports versus me. I had to go outside and play on the neighborhood court with no backboard because my mom didn't have time to take me to no practice. Um, I played when I was 5, 6 years old when my dad was there. After that, I didn't get to play again until I was 11. And that just was the trajectory of my life. It was a lot of things that I missed out on that could have gave me that structure and that balance as a young man. So going into my young adult years, I was the typical 18, 19-year-old know-it-all, couldn't tell me nothing, thought I knew everything and didn't have a lick of wisdom. And I mean, it just never dawned on me that anything was missing. Then I began to look even deeper as things progressed for me. Um, I was a construction worker at the time doing concrete, hard labor in the sun. It began to weigh on me at a young age. I was like, this ain't what I want to do for the rest of my years. Um, Finally, I let my mom talk me into going to the military. And as much as I hated it, I resented it. I argued with the recruiter while I was sitting in MEPS because I ain't want to take the job they was off. I was so difficult of a young man for no reason, with no better route, no better decisions, being made on my own. But, I just felt so entitled to have a life handed to me that I didn't earn or deserve. And it took me a long time to realize that that's just not how things work out in the real world. So I reluctantly went in, and God showed me a lot of favor. I went from E1 to E6 in 5 years. Hated it every step of the way, but I love the memories and the experiences it gave me. It gave me the structure that I needed. It allowed me to see some different perspectives. It allowed me to see the world, and learn that there was so much more out here than what I was privy to in my neighborhoods. I thought that I was okay just working an everyday warehouse job until I get to a retirement. And, all I needed was $500 a week to get a 1-bedroom apartment. That was literally my mindset. And that was how I seen my future. And getting into the military, I mean, it literally saved me as a man. Um, and as much as I maybe don't want that, that's not my dream for my kids. For me, it was very necessary. So then, like I say, I look ahead to that same friend, the one with the father, and the decisions he made, and how it was like immediately when he turned 18, he knew he had a plan. He had to do this. There was this expectation on him to succeed. For me, I lollygagged for a good 3, 4 years, got into the military, lollygagged my way through that. I don't even know how I really progressed the way I did. Like people look at me crazy when I say that. Like I was just some all-star sailor in the Navy, but I wasn't. Um, I was a very lazy and unaccountable man. And it cost me. That friend, on the other hand, was always a step ahead of me. And we finally had the conversation. What's up, audio game? We are up late, man. But we are on West Coast time. So, forgive me, man. It is what it is. But I'm glad you're here, bro. But yeah. It cost me big time. And then I started to look at that friend and we had the conversation one day. And I'm like, bro, you just always seem like you had a head on your shoulders to do the right thing, to grind it out, to just your transition into manhood was so seamless. And I'm like, for the first time, I really started to track back what was the differences between me and you. We met at 5 years old. What did you see that I didn't? And it was a man in your house waking up every day with the sense of pride, and going out here to provide for his family. You got to celebrate his accomplishments. You got to see him come home after winning. You got to feel all of what you had to look forward to as a man every step of the way. And I didn't. From age 12, my mom became a daycare provider. Before that, she worked nights, 2 and 3 jobs. Cool. But when she became a daycare provider, I got to see adult life as waking up every day and not leaving the house. That was my depiction of what adulthood was. And the only time I got to see a man that I looked up to was in a rap video. I'm keeping it all the way a being. So as time went on, when me and my dad began to rekindle our relationship as he finally got his life together, spending a little time here and there, I got to see glimpses, but I did not have that picture in my house. And honestly, I got a very female dominated family, so I didn't even get to see it around me very often. And I think this highlights a crisis in our community. I think it's a crisis in our community that most of us, in all honesty, did not pay enough attention to until Kevin Samuels went mainstream. He highlighted the issues in the Black community like nobody else can. The only other person I would say that may highlight it as much as him would be Thomas Sowell, Candace Owens. One many of you may have never even heard of, and that's Thomas Sowell. The second one, in Candace Owens, most of our community completely hate her for pointing the finger at our culture and our community for our shortcomings and encouraging us to take accountability to make better decisions. Kevin had a unique way of doing it in a way that allowed him to be heard, that allowed men to begin to be heard on top of that. And a lot of the things he said were not always comfortable. But what I'm finding now that I'm venturing into these spaces, it seems like after his death, a lot of his message is starting to fade. Audio Against the Facts, that was my predicament. I bloomed late because I had no male role model. No, absolutely, bro. I'm 33 years old and I'm still not where I'm supposed to be. I don't think I really started taking my life seriously until about 3 years ago. Before that, I was just waiting for it to come to me. And I was cool with the way that it came. I accepted mediocre. And I think that's the case for a lot of us young men who don't have that fatherly influence. So that was one big thing about Kevin's message. He did not allow mediocrity in men, especially in complaining men. And it seems like with him gone now, we've lost that voice of reason. See, in the same token that we have these truths where single motherhood is a failure to our community, where it is raising inadequate men, it is raising daughters who don't know how to be wives and are not marriage minded. There was also the added reality that not only do the females need to be accountable for these decisions, but the men do. And honestly, that was what was missing from a lot of the manosphere messages. I think early on, a lot of the content creators that are known for like creating this space, they had that. But now as the Black manosphere is growing, it seems to kind of have gotten away from that just a little bit. And I would really like to venture to know why. Um, One major video from Kevin Samuels that really stood out to me, and I think was one of his most important and biggest videos, is one that I want to highlight real quick. Um, he says so many things. He dropped so many gems, but there was this particular point where he was dealing with this young man that was 19 years old, and he was calling in to give his opinion. The name of the show was Men Should Pay for Everything, Women Should Be Hypergamous. And when I heard this 19-year-old man speaking, I felt like, to a degree, it reminded me of me a little bit when I was that age. Thinking I'm ahead of my time, thinking I understand life when I have no idea about nothing. And now that's what I'm finding all throughout the comments in the manosphere. It's a lot of men who are anti-marriage, which is absolutely within your right. They're also anti-single motherhood, which is a great thing to be. They also want children that reside in their home with the father, which is absolutely oxymoronic. I don't understand how this adds up. I hear so many things about women, the need for them to be traditional, the need to them be submissive, not put their career first. But in the same breath, I'm hearing everything that goes against traditional when it comes to masculine leadership. And I venture to say, like we've always said, it is starting to look like reverse feminism. That triggers people because it's coming from a place of, or is perceived to come from a place of maybe that we're better than those men. And that's not the case. I think these are misguided ideas that come from our single mother culture, that come from us seeing mom struggle and hustle and work a 9 to 5 and then work a 7 to 11 after that. And that was never how it was intended to be for families. Before I get too far into this monologue, though, I do want to really quickly just share this quick clip from the late, great Kevin Samuels. The late, great Kevin Samuels. Short clip, just to give you an idea of where I'm coming from. As soon as it plays for me.
Number two, stop listening to so much red pill YouTube content. It's poisoning you young guys' minds. You haven't had enough experience with bad relationships, divorce, marriage to come out on this kind of thought. You're too young to be saying you don't want to get married. And then turn around and say you do want children when you want them to be in your house. That's problematic on so many levels. Got it?
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
No problem.
Mhm.
You have to wonder what Mr. Samuels would say if he existed in the manosphere today. And I'm gonna get further into that clip so y'all can see the context there. I had a man challenge my wife on a video today. And I don't even think he challenged her. Let me correct that. But he did post a great question. And it wasn't even a question, but he said, how many women out here are saving themselves as virgins until marriage? You want us to buy a used vehicle for full price? That is a fair question, but it's also a cop out. The reality is this: you pick who you marry. If you don't want a depreciated used asset, don't marry that. But how is that an argument against the idea that men should be providers? Because that's what the post was about. It was a video in so many words stating the hypocrisy of today's men who demand every traditional quality of a female today for her to be considered adequate for marriage, while also demanding her to help with his role in providing. If he can't go 50, if she ain't going 50-50, she's of no value to him. When did we as men lose the pride in the fact of being able to take care of our woman? And if we don't got it, if we ain't there, that's absolutely okay. This is not to shame people for their financial situation. I mean, I'm living a very sacrificial life. So I don't expect that for everybody. If you as a man are unmarried with no children and you waited and you building yourself, that's admirable. You shouldn't necessarily rush into a situation you're not ready for. But let's be honest and accountable about our discussion points. Why do we feel like as men entering marriage, it is not our responsibility to take care of our women? When did that become traditional? And if it ain't traditional and we acknowledge that, should we also take accountability for the reality that we're probably going to attract non-traditional women as well? If I'm delusional, someone let me know in the comments because I'm not getting it. It seems like there's a disconnect when it comes to this situation, when this topic comes up. And when I say it feels like reverse feminism, it's like we want our cake and eat it too. But the reality is this: if you are a top of the line individual in the dating market, then you will qualify for the top of the line in the dating market. You won't have a complaint. But to take on this liberal mindset that wants a handout, we want affirmative action dating style now. We want to be able to be the man who goes to stay with the woman and help her pay bills in her crib, while she also has the utmost respect for us as if we were a masculine protector provider. When she knows if at any day she loses her job, suddenly has to have a baby, she can't depend on you. Is it rational to expect the same level of respect in that type of situation? People are human. We as men, often in this space, we say, women, this is what we like. This is what our standards are. And we aren't going to change them to what you think they ought to be. Yet we're ignoring the reality that a majority of women would prefer a provider male who makes more than them. Listen, maybe the biggest solution for us to heal marriage in our community It's for everybody to stay in their lane. Everybody's not going to get the Disney princess. But if you want the Disney princess, go back and watch the movies and see what type of man she was with. It was not the peasants. But I love peasants. I'm a peasant. And maybe part of our humility, a part of our leadership, we have to be humble enough to acknowledge that we have to heal this thing from the ground up. Stop pointing the fingers. And we as men got to take the community on our back and stop being afraid to lead. Stop listening to all these red pill talking points that's giving you nothing but fear. Use wisdom. If you have assets, get a prenup. Do what you got to do to protect yourself. But let's stop overreacting like marriage is a surefire fail in the community, to cop out from the reality that we just don't want the responsibility of taking care of our woman. But yet we want all the women to remain virgins and not be whores. So they're not worth us marrying because they're going to take everything. Their only value is for us to sleep around with them, but they bet not be a whore. That's the most pessimistic message I've ever heard in my life. If we are a man who is high caliber to the degree where the common woman would die for us, then I mean, in that situation, for most people, it's not even an argument to take care of her. Let's be real. That's usually only an argument for men who feel that they're not adequately able to. And a lot of times that might be the type of women we attracted to. Because as much as we say what we say about hoes, a lot of cats be the same dudes that's liking all their pictures on Instagram, that's in their DMs, that's replying to all the thirst traps. So we can say what we want to say, but we're the reason that a lot of them feel justified in being that way, because we don't really have no repercussions for it. We still celebrate it secretly. We still playing the game behind the scenes. Audio Game said men have lost hope in finding women with traditional mindset. I see that, bro. I see that. But I challenge you. Do you think that the men who were raised in two-parent homes, because let's talk about this, because we say that in the Black community, we talk about single motherhood all the time as if it's only the women that grew up in those homes. And then we'll disqualify every woman who grew up without a father as unmarriageable. Cool. Then does that not by default make every man who grew up without a father unmarriageable as well? So I pose the simple question. Do the men who grew up in a two-parent household, who came from structure, who are privy to those particular types of circles where these women would be, feel the same way? Have they also lost hope in finding women with traditional mindset? Or is that only a hope that has been lost in our broken community, amongst the broken people who are birthed from these single mother homes? Because if that's the case, then we as the men have to make it our determination to break the curse. Now, if you just saying let the culture die, I'm not the culture's savior, cool, I respect it. Then stop complaining about it. I'm all for men who want to go overseas. Find you a wife that is adequate to your desires. That's within your rights. Then why stay over here and complain about and criticize the people who want to do the work, who want to heal the community? We got to make up our minds. Because if the community can't be healed, that cannot be solely on the side of females. Then that must mean that the men can't heal either. Yeah, please. Audio game. I'm saying this. I think that let me read it first. So you're saying that men and women from broken homes should link up and figure it out together. I'm actually not saying that. To be fair, I think if you come from a broken home and you're healed yourself to a place where you're not broken, you don't have to do that. But if you are still in a place that is still broken, if you are in a place where you are not adequate enough to be demanding women of a certain caliber, then you ought not be having that discussion. You can either date in the place you are and make the best of the situation you're at. The same thing we tell women. Everybody's not a 10, so everybody's not going to get a high value man. Every man is not going to get a 10 submissive virgin. So to some degree, we can either say, I understand where I came from. If I find somebody else who understands where they came from and is ready to do the work, let's do the work together. Or if you've done the work enough to where you are attracting someone of a caliber that didn't have to go through what you went through, that's even better. But from what I'm hearing in these spaces, the amount of complaints that exist, that can't be what's happening. Because if men have healed from their places of brokenness and come to a position where they are attracting high caliber women, the manosphere wouldn't exist because they would not be in here complaining about not being able to find high caliber women. So I just think there has to be a level of reality that we're bringing to this. Women like what they like. Men like what they like. We're not going to change that. We either can man up and get with the program and say, all right, I'm too fat. Let me get my butt in the gym, because that's what men do. We fix problems. We bring solutions. We don't complain. We don't highlight issues and hope somebody feels sorry for us. I mean, do you really want some? I don't want pity sex. I want you falling all over me because you need to have me. So I think that's the issue, is that we're not facing this from enough of a position of reality to say, if this is what women want, let me better myself so I can pick or demand the woman that I need. We're saying, women, meet me where we are. We're not going to do anything extra. I'm not going to be what you desire, and I'm going to shame you for it. That's feminism, G. That's the same thing they're doing in feminism, bro. Black man unfiltered in the building. What's up with you, bro? Glad to see it's a couple gentlemen up tonight. I ain't know if it was too late for y'all. I love to hear your thoughts, bro, and you're definitely welcome to come up. Let me know. Babe, drop the link just in case you decide to, but no pressure, of course. We got to make up our minds, man. Yes. And this is what Kevin Samuels talked about, you know, and this is the unpopular part of his message men don't like to highlight. Kevin went hard for the average man. Yes, more women need to look at the average man, because there's nothing wrong with being average. There's nothing wrong with being an average man. But an average man is going to get an average woman, fellas. We got to wake up. And if you want a top tier woman, guess what? Take your average one and lead her there while you become a top tier man in the process. But if you ain't come all the way put together, what kind of nerve do we have to expect her to come all the way put together? And if she was all the way put together, why would she be interested in you? And that's not to anybody particularly. That's to me. That's to all of us in general. And the beautiful thing about this, I love when my wife is in these spaces and people see the woman that she is, and they have no idea this is the woman she's become. She breaks every manosphere talking point and gets praise in every room she steps in. So the fact that you're saying we're losing hope, I just urge that to be the hope that people need right there. Have we lost the belief that people can change? I know it's hard. But should we all throw our community away just by the sake of what our parents did? Because they created a single mom culture. We're not going to fix it. We're going to run away from the problem and bring nothing but complaints. That wasn't what Kevin Samuels died for. Kevin was about people getting married. Kevin wasn't alpha male strategies. If that's the cup of tea you coming from, respect. Marriage ain't for everybody. But don't expect me to high five you for furthering the problem in our community. And definitely don't be out here making babies with people just for the hell of it. Hey, can you go ahead and bring them up? Because my computer acting crazy right now. Everybody, please welcome my man, Black Man Unfiltered, in the building. It is a pleasure to have you join, sir.
What's going on, man? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. How you feeling?
Feeling good, man. I was up doing some stuff, man, helping the wife get everything prepared for tomorrow for the kiddos, and
Okay.
I forgot a few things, man. I was like, I turned on YouTube. I said, let me see if anybody cooking tonight, and I look up here and I see Bishop Driscoll cooking tonight, man.
Bishop in the house, right?
Yeah, bro. And man, I'm so glad to be here, man. Like, listen, the thing is, with your I turn the notifications on for y'all channel, man. 'Cause you know I want to support y'all big. And I think I start the other day. I put y'all's other show that your wife did. I put it on my community tab, but but sometimes the notifications don't come. So I'm just gonna start. So what days do you go on so I know for sure so I can support you, man?
I'm gonna be real with you, bro. We haven't got a regular day going yet. We just kind of we getting up here sporadically right now, so don't even worry about it. But in October we're gonna be doing Marriage Mondays.
Okay.
And then after she had a baby, she gonna have her own thing that she do on Wednesdays too. But that's gonna be a little later when she recover.
Okay, absolutely, man. I know you're excited about that, man. But I want to come on, man, and show you major support, bro.
Yes,
and
sir.
let you know, man. I saw you in my comments the other night, man, and you were cooking in the comments, bro. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate your support, man. I definitely want to support you, man, and what you guys are doing. I want to come up, but man, everything that you're saying, bro, I have no pushback, bro. You are teaching tonight, bro. Teach them, bro.
How do you feel about the topic though, as far as like Kevin Samuels' death? Do you feel like we're gonna lose something that we were gaining as far as Black men? Because I seem like a lot of people were waking up to our responsibility as men. A lot of us, he was a father, that we didn't have in a sense.
Exactly, bro. You're absolutely correct. I think that Kevin did. He was one of those uncle, father figures, grandfather figures that told me, and listen, this is something you don't have to put up with.
Right.
This is something that you don't have to deal with. You don't have to deal with being less of a man.
Yes.
To please somebody else or to please a woman, you have to lower yourself and not be what God created you to be. God created you to be the leader, the head.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of men that were living below those means woke up.
Yes.
And when they woke and they heard Kevin, they're like, wait a minute. What this guy, whoa. At first, it started off a little slow, and then Kevin started, speaking a little bit more, got a little bit more, viral. And men are like, whoa, I don't have to put up with this.
Right. It woke something up in us.
It did. And so You know, and I was listening to Coach K the other night, last Tuesday. Your wife was on the show. Thank her again for being there. Last Tuesday, Coach K said the same thing. Coach K said, you know, one day she was just got into an argument with a man and she was out of line. And she said one day she just heard this guy talking on YouTube. Her phone was just going off and it was Kevin Samuels. And she said he changed her. And she said he changed her life.
Bro, this man has saved so many marriages, bro. I think we would never know the real impact that he had.
Exactly. So I don't understand why these women are out here saying, "Oh, I'm so glad he did. I'm so glad he," you know. But those are the linebackers for the Cleveland Browns that are doing all that talking.
And I think what it is, they don't understand that his message was going to really impact them positively. Like they're so worried about the fact that he required them to be accountable, but everything that y'all complained about in men, you about to have to. Kevin was going to make men like, in order for us to complain, you couldn't come on his show and complain if you were not of a certain status.
Exactly.
So Kevin put the mirror on us, and he finally, like, he not only gave us a voice, but he said, men, the best voice you can have is to be productive.
Exactly.
If you a man ain't got nothing to offer a woman but a couch, why would any woman on here even care to hear what you got to say?
Exactly, bro. And a lot of men start getting their stuff together and turning it around.
Absolutely.
They really did. They start turning things around. And you know, Kevin, man, just too soon, man. Too soon. So but I think that he did leave a huge impact because people right then now are still doing reaction videos on his videos. People right now are still you know, saying Kevin said this and remember Kevin said that and Kevin said this. And so you'll hear that a lot. You know, and a lot of women still hate it, but at the same time, he did this, man. Kevin was the guy, bro. He was the guy.
Absolutely. And last question for you, man. If you could, in your opinion, what do you think is the best way for us as the Black community to get out of the hole we're in? Do you think, do you think the men should set a hard standard and just deny every woman that exists right now? And force the next generation maybe to learn from our mistakes and just quit on marriage? Do you think that, you know, maybe I don't know, like what would you say is the best way for us to get out of the hole we're in?
I think the people that are married should be the example. The single people that are responsible should be the disciplinarians. And I think that, and what I mean by that is, if you're married, be the example. Show a young lady how it is to be a wife, a good wife.
Right.
And then the men are to show the young men how to be husbands, good husbands, right? But the single women and single men should show example by, especially the men. I'll say the single men, especially by saying, "No, I'm good." And right. I think that phrase, I think a lot of our men in our community needs to start learning how to use that phrase, "No, I'm good." You know, because that stops the babies, that stops the Pookie Ray Ray, you know, thing that they say is out there. Pookie Ray. They'll stop all that when men start standing up and not allowing their emotions or their feelings in a moment to cause so much strife in their lives. Babies and women trying to. I saw a video today. I did a co-hosted with a security boss today, and she was on the video how a young lady just ran over her man, just in a car, just ran over, you know. And I'm thinking, you know, if we get to a point where a woman trying to come on to us or something like that, I think we have the most power in our denial.
Wow.
And I think if we start denying them what it is that they want, because women now are more aggressive than men. They want it. And when what they want it.
Yeah,
and I
think
don't
get told no often.
Right. And I'm telling you, the day that men start standing up and saying, "No, I'm good. No, I don't want to have sex with you. That's not why I'm here. No, I'm good. I just came over here to be a mentor to your son. I didn't come over here to have sex with you."
Right.
You know, I came to be a man in the community. I didn't come over here to have sex with you just to get some easy sex. No, right. I'm okay. I'm good. And once we start standing in that strength, in that moment, bro, everything will change, because then women will start saying, "Well, what is it that I got to do to even get close to these guys?"
Right. You asking a lot now, BMU, because if we honest, most of the men in our community, they might deny a woman marriage, but they're not denying sex.
Exactly, bro. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think men should, like yourself and myself. I've come to a point, you know, when you're younger, you're like, "Yeah, tear everything up." But as you get older, you're like, man, whoa, why? If I could go back, I would change this. And I think that instead of, our young men waiting till they're in their 40s or late 30s or mid 30s to try to do what we're trying to do now, I think we should start them early. Start talking to them when they're 15, 16 years old. Listen, let them know, hey, you're going to get an erection. You're going to feel some type of way about females, but this is how you carry yourself around those females.
Man, that's good stuff, bro.
Start early, bro. Start early. And I think that because, even the babies in China, and I always say this, some people look at me crazy, but the babies in China don't wear diapers. They're the biggest producer of diapers for the United States, but their babies don't wear diapers. They teach their babies from infants to be self-sufficient.
Wait,
and
so
I think
they're using the potty as infants?
Yes.
Get out
They're holding them over the pot, training them as babies. So when their babies are 2 years old or 1 year old or 10 months old or 8 months old, they know how to crawl to the potty. They know how to get up there and lay back on the potty. And we're over here, some babies in diapers till they're 1.5 years old.
Talk about it. 3 years old.
3 years old. So I think that we should start early with our young men. Hey, listen, you have a penis. It was God created it to have an erection, and it's for creating children. However, you must understand that you cannot go around spreading your seed and shooting your seed in trash cans, because that's exactly what happens. You'll go and sleep with Ratchet Rhonda, and Ratchet Rhonda gonna have you by the leash for 18 years.
Yeah. And the worst part about it, man, is that because the men are giving them that sexual attention, you can't tell these women nothing because they don't differentiate the difference. They like, hey, at the end of the day, my DM's full, so I ain't got no reason to change anything.
Right. And that's what I always said, man. You can get plenty of penis, but who will commit to you?
Exactly.
Who will marry you? And then a lot of women, I'll say this, bro, and I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go try to give me some sleep for work. But a lot of women say, oh, I got this man. Oh, I got a Rolodex full of men and all this here. Listen, most of the time and that's another thing in our community, we need to stop teaching, especially women, stop teaching your daughters to be successful and independent and go out and just do you, because what happens is the women will push away, our young women push away the men that want to be married, because mama say go out and do you, go out and live your life. They'll push away the men that have married minds, and then when they get up in their 40s, they're like, dang, let me go back and find Earl. And Earl don't want you no more. Earl wants a 27-year-old now.
And that's real, because they get so caught up in personal hedonism, and they want the men who got the bright eyes and the bushy tails too, and flashy and all of that. They don't want the grounded, wholesome, family-minded dude until they got somebody else's kids, and that's typically just the reality of our community. So it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that it seems like our women get stuck in that cycle because of what their parents are teaching them. Nobody's teaching the importance of marriage in any household anymore. It's always about the career.
Exactly, bro. And I want to say this, and I'm gonna let you go, man. Hey, bro, if you can find me one of them shirts, man, I like that shirt you got on there, brother.
Word. I'm about to cut some weight, so I'm about to give you this one.
Man, you know what I'm saying? Hey, listen, bro, if you going on that journey, bro, with this whole weight thing, bro, hey, I'll do it with you, bro.
Say less.
Because I'm doing it now, man. We can be there for each other, bro.
Say less. I'm gonna talk to you offline about what you got going on there.
All right, man. Well, hey, bro. Hey, much love to you. Much love to your wife and your family, man. I pray that God covers you guys and keep you guys blessed day to day. God bless this platform. Bless this man here who is a leader, and bless his wife who is his helpmate, and continue to help them grow and be everything that you have created them to be. In Jesus' name tonight, amen, brother.
Amen. Thank you for that. I appreciate you, man.
Absolutely, man. Have a good night, bro.
All right, you too. Be easy.
All right.
Good stuff. So I said I was only gonna be up here for an hour. I don't know, I might go over a little bit, but I just want to thank Black Man Unfiltered for coming through. Please, wife dropped his link. Yep, she dropped this link in the comments. So be sure to check out his channel, subscribe, and all that. I think she's usually on there Tuesdays. She's not gonna be up there tomorrow, but you can catch her on there typically every Tuesday. But real quick, I want to get back to another clip from that video before we get out of here, so you can really drive home this point that I'm trying to make tonight.
You want her to respect your masculinity and your manhood because you have an XY chromosome. It don't work that way. Women respect resources. The only place you dominate is in the bedroom. Dominate on the balance sheet. Dominate on your wallet, which is your accomplishments. Any woman that you choose to deal with, her money should be no good with you if you're 100% man. You pay everything. You want her to respect your masculinity and your manhood because you have an XY chromosome. It don't work that way. Women respect resources. You can't check a bitch because you got nothing to check with. The only place you dominate is in the bedroom. Dominate on the balance sheet. Dominate on your wallet, which is your accomplishments. Any woman that you choose to deal with, her money should be no good with you if you're 100% man. You pay everything.
You pay everything. Does that create a sense of incitement for men? Or does it create a cringe effect? Or do we want to pretend that that part of Kevin Samuel's message didn't exist? You don't have to be rich to pay everything. I'm gonna link his the full video to that where he talks about men going 100%, having a 100% mentality. When you meet a woman, you're not thinking about what she can bring me financially. You just enjoy her being able to be a woman. And if she's cooperative, she's fit, and she fine, as a man, it should excite you to allow her to just be a woman. I think the single mama culture has destroyed our ability to take joy and pride in what makes us needed by women. And that's that we're resourceful. We're problem solvers. We're not supposed to bring more problems. She shouldn't gain bills by marrying you. Stress should be relieved from her hands. Again, everybody ain't going to be rich. Resourceful. Let me give you an idea of what resourceful looks like from a provider protector mindset. You may not be able to be there to protect her every day. Maybe you got to work nights. Maybe you got to travel. Do you buy her a firearm? Do you teach her how to use that thing? Do you make sure she got her concealed carry permit? Do you make sure when she leave that house, that thing is on her hip? Do you teach her to be aware of her surroundings, what to look for when she's out there? These are things that common women aren't thinking about in this society where they're protected and feel like I can just call 911. That's what predators are looking for. That lousy daisy woman that is too afraid to speak up, that doesn't want to make a scene. That's part of being a protector. That's being resourceful. That's bringing your masculine leadership to the table to solve a problem in her life, to bring her comfort even when you're not there. For some men, that's having a security system in the place. Every time my wife leaves, if I'm not going with her, I send my son with her. You'll never see Family Values in a store by herself. Personally, I feel like I failed her as a man. If she's walking around a store alone with all this human trafficking going on out here, Sure, my son's only 10. He ain't gonna beat nobody up, but he might deter you because then you got to take 2 people. Maybe you're gonna be less likely to hide under the car when you see 2 people coming. Maybe you don't want to witness. I thought these were things we're supposed to take pride in as men. We talk all the time about living within your means. If you got a woman willing to get on your program, a woman who maybe heard Kevin Samuels and understand, okay, my lane is an average man. I'm not a 10. I'm not even an 8. I'm not even a 7. I shouldn't even say not even an 8. Most women ain't 8s. Most women ain't 7s, even though that's what everybody think they is a 7. If you're a 5 or a 6, why turn your nose up at a $50K a year man? That's average. And if you want to work so you can get your hair and nails done and not have to, live the minimalistic lifestyle that it would require to be completely under his income, that's cool. But I don't encourage women, unless they're absolutely desperate, to marry any man that finds it offensive to be their provider. That should excite you. That should make you want to work harder. That makes me want to get an extra shift, an extra job, an extra gig. I go hard thinking about what I'll be able to do for my wife and kids in the future. I'm not looking for ways to escape. I'm not looking for the easy way out. I'm not looking to be able to say what she ought to do to take the weight off of me. I might get flagged for this, but that sounds gay. That sounds gay. To be depending on a woman for me to be able to live. My lights will go out if my woman does not get paid enough this week. I don't believe we can have any sense of pride in calling ourselves a man living in that type of reality. If that's where you are, don't be ashamed. Change it. Change the mindset. But we have got to grow out of this single mother matriarchal mindset that says we need our women to provide for us. That is not a flex. I'm tired of the Facebook photos of men talking about what Bae got me for my birthday. Look at these fresh new Jordans that Bae got me. My wife retiring me. That's not the type of stuff we're supposed to take pride in as men. My wife took me on vacation. I don't know. I don't see. I don't get it. What's up, Prime VA 757? Do I know you in real life, bro? I don't know if you know I'm from the 757 too, bro. But yeah. Yeah, I wonder if that's one of my guys. But just something to think about as we cross it into an hour. This is never to shame men. I want to see us all better. I want to see our community married, most importantly. And I don't think we as men are going to achieve the results we want out of marriage if we are not stepping up to the plate and being the men we are required to be for a quality woman to appreciate us. I'm from the beach too, bro. What school you went to? That's crazy. But yeah, I don't think that's logical. That's not logical. It's not righteous. And then we try to act like it's a pushback to equality when there's nothing equal about that. There's nothing equal about a woman going to work full time to help you provide while you say her role is to be the feminine, submissive wife at home that take care of the children. Best believe you will be doing some housework. And if you're cool with that, respect. Everybody ain't gotta, go after my way of life, my way of thinking. But you will be doing housework, or you will have a conflict in your marriage. If you think that woman is going to work a full-time job and come home and be what you see in my wife, that's not going to happen. That's comical. And let's also remember, a lot of y'all wouldn't even want to marry my wife. She was a single mom. She came as everything the manosphere said to stay away from. So if you really stand your ground, you ought to not even be intrigued by her or using her as a standard, unless you recognize there's a flaw in our thinking somewhere. And we have to leave room for the reality that if we as the men can grow and evolve, then maybe we can accept the same reality as possible for the women in this community. But at the end of the day, regardless of what they got going on, I got to get after mine. Instead of trying to beg women to get on a program that they don't see value in, let me increase my value so they can be fighting to be a part of my program. That was Kevin's mindset. Not asking somebody to come be a roommate and treat you like a wife would. So with that said, I'm gonna get off my soapbox for the night, and I hope I bless somebody with what I had to say. We're gonna continue this another time, man. 757 in the building, bro. I went to Bayside. I didn't graduate. I was supposed to graduate 07, but I dropped out 05, got my GED in 06. A little bit of my backstory, man. It ain't all peaches and cream over here, so if y'all are looking for the cookie cutter example of what everything's supposed to be like, you on the wrong channel. What you're going to get over here is healing and restoration, because everything you see in our household is a product of God's grace. We are his handiwork. This doesn't come from good father homes. And we don't look like where we came from. So let's not give up on each other, man. And let's understand that we all got to do our part. And we're not going to accept garbage. I'm not saying that. But at the same time, let's make sure while we're not accepting garbage, we're not being garbage. Till next time, let's make marriage great again, baby. It's your boy Driscoll. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all for joining. Stay tuned. My wife was supposed to go live today. Something came up. So be looking for that shortly. She gonna cook with y'all on another topic. All right. Look forward to doing this again. Make sure y'all subscribe. Get them likes in, man, if y'all didn't already. And let us know in the comments what you would like to talk about in the future. God bless y'all, man.
We need you longer. We lost so many chosen. We need to please make them thought provoking.